same, report the same with the following amendment and the recommendation that the bill ought to pass with amendment. Representative Alfred Baldessaro for the majority of the committee. The minority of the committee, having considered the same and being unable to agree with the majority, report with the following resolution. Resolved, it is inexpedient to legislate. Representative Robert Faberge for the minority of the committee. The question is on amendment 0406H, printed in House Record number 7 on page 30. Are you ready for the question on the amendment? Representative Faberge is recognized to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I apologize for not signing up to address the amendment. What the amendment does is trying to downplay the word shall. Shall in this legislation is a mandate. They try to kind of placate everything by putting in that the school district shall permit the placement of a memorial. Or otherwise as agreeable to the school board. What this means, let me put it in simple terms. They are forced to put in a memorial. The only choice they have is to decide whether it's in granite, marble, cement, or whatever. This is a mandate. The school districts and school boards have far too many mandates, and this is not what the intention of the bill should be. So I request that you at least vote down the amendment. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the member from Londonderry, Representative Baldessaro, to speak to the committee amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and fellow. This is a sad one here for me. To the family that came here today, Simplify, for all that don't know that means, and the Marine Corps, always faithful, and will fight to the end, make sure that not one veteran is left behind. The amendment there, vote in the committee was 10-1. In the amendment there, what we did, it was kind of tough for me, because I'm a local control guy. Many of us are local control guys, people, women, and men, here in this house. The reason why we added the word shall was because there's a few schools in towns in the state that have issues when it comes to veterans. We have veterans throughout the country, and some areas are being, now today, being spit on or being treated like they were used to be in Vietnam. And I'm sure you've seen on the news, especially in our VA systems. In June of 2013 was a sad day. When I say it was a sad day, because the school system denied a young Marine who was a cut above many of our students in the state. He got done with school early, and then he went on to boot camp in January, around there. And then his wishes from his family and others was to wear his uniform at graduation. Brandon Garrett, when he graduated from boot camp on a Friday, his family was down in Paris Island. He rushed back not knowing, because the parents were trying to get him to wear his blues. He rushed back from Paris Island to go to boot camp, go to high school graduation that Saturday. He could not wear his uniform at the graduation. Now, when you're in active duty military, there's what you call the uniform code of, uniform regulations. You cannot wear a gown over a uniform and then wear a cap, graduation cap. That's his uniform. He got, like I said, he got out of school early because he had the credits.
The member will suspend us. The question is on the amendment, so we really need to focus on the
I can come back and finish that after that. Now, what we did here for the corporal, so this never, ever happens again, we mixed local control with the word shall in the amendment. What we put in the amendment, and I'm going to show you if you didn't read it, memorial. We said that the school board, let me get to the amendment here, each school district shall permit the placement of memorial plaque in a suitable location or other memorial as agreeable to the school board at a district high school in honor of an alumnus of a junior high or high school in the district who died during military service, provided that the cost of the design, manufacture, installation, or maintenance of the memorial shall not be charged. Now, I talked about Brandon a little while because there's another bill coming forward. Because that links with the memorials. He graduated from the school. We should never ever deny any family to put a plaque at the school. Never ever. Because many kids, as a recruiter, former recruiter, we tell the kids to go back to the school. Thank their teachers for educating them, for giving them the opportunity. In my town in Londonderry, the class of 2012 built 5 pillars that sit in a little court place outside the school. And on the pillars, for every branch of the service, there are 2 Marine names and 1 Army that recognize them as graduate and pillar, mentors in the community. So I'm asking you to take a look at this here amendment and look how we supported local control, and we had to put the word shall, so we will never ever in New Hampshire be embarrassed again. Thank you.
Will the member yield to questions? The member yield. Representative Fred Rice, you may inquire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks to the member for taking my question. In our town, we have a warrant article coming up this year to rethink where we have all of our memorials. We have Civil War on the library, we have a couple of big stones for World War I and II, we've got a different stone that covers Vietnam and so forth, and they're scattered. We want to put them all in one place in one plaza, but we do not want them on the school grounds, necessarily. Does this mandate that we have to have something on the school ground? We don't want any memorials on the school ground, we want them in Memorial Plaza. How does this impact that? How does this amendment do that? You say we can't do it the way we want, and we got to do it the way a state law says?
That's a great question there, Representative. Thank you for asking that. The bill says each school district shall permit the placement of a memorial plaque in a suitable location, and then or either memorial as agreeable to the school board. There is nothing wrong with an SAU, school board, whatever, to work with the towns, okay, on their local governments on where to place them. Now, I would prefer, and the reason why, because our memorials in my town have all the veterans that lived in my town that got killed in all the wars. The school identifies the individual that graduated, was part of that team, that school team. So I would hope that, many cities and towns would not have an issue with putting it at the school, because that's where he served probably as a student, and that's where he got to the mentors in the school system, went on to military life.
Does the member yield to follow-up question? Representative Rice, you may inquire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, what if we don't want to have a plaque in the school? We want to have one memorial for each person someplace in town. Our town is small enough, and during the periods when people served, virtually all of them were graduates of the school. Does that mean we can't have the one in the plaza that we want, and we must put it in the school? We'd rather have it in the plaza. How do you resolve that?
I forgot what town you're from, but I won't go into that one. No, just kidding. The answer is no, no, and no. Same answer. Thank you.
Does the member yield to further questions? Representative Belanger, you may inquire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the representative for taking my question. I'm a veteran,
We have a memorial for a deceased veteran at our high school. Reading this bill, it seems to me that, I'm sorry, let me continue. The high school, the school paid for the memorial and maintains it. Reading this bill, it seems to me that they would be prohibited from doing that either on a continuing basis for the existing memorial or future memorials, because it says it cannot have a cost to the town. Am I reading the bill right? No, you're actually, good question also, but no, you're not reading it right. If you take a look at all our bridges that I've been part of, and many of us here, on both sides, we came together on bridge dedications. The language here is no different than the bridge dedications and similar to what we put here. We do not, as veteran groups, we don't want to put the cost on the town. We put the cost on the veterans to come together and take care of their own. And we will fund these areas. We will get the money for them. And we've got the money for all the bridges, signs, and same thing here in the schools. Thank you.
Representative Heffern is recognized for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to table this bill. Table the amendment.
No, it is table is a bill.
Table the bill.
The whole, yeah, which tabling the amendment has the effect of tabling the bill. The whole amendment and the bill would be laid upon the table if your motion passes. A roll call has been requested by Representative Baldessaro. Is that sufficiently seconded? It is sufficiently seconded. This will be a roll call vote. Members will take their seats.
So they go to table. Multi table is another. First point. So they will go to see the table the bill or not.
The House will come to order. Question is on the tabling motion on House Bill 1130. Representative Heffern is recognized for parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you believe as I do, that we spent enough time on this bill, we'll vote to table the motion. Table the bill.
Question is on the tabling motion on House Bill 1130. If you're in favor, you'll press the green button. If you're opposed, you'll press the red button. The chair recognizes Representative Hinch for parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if I believe that the sponsor of this bill has not even had the opportunity to speak on this bill, would I vote no on the tabling motion? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question is on the tabling motion on House Bill 1130. This is a roll call vote. If you are in favor, you'll press the green button. If you're opposed, you'll press the red button. Voting stations will be open for 30 seconds.
What do you mean by the order of the bill? Is that you?
If all members voted or present when the question was put, the House will attempt to say the vote. There having been 92 votes in the affirmative, 211 in the negative, the motion fails. The chair recognizes the member from Wyndham, Representative Bates, to speak in favor of the committee report.
Mr. Speaker, I believe we're on the amendment. I want to speak in favor of the amendment.
In favor of the amendment. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And honorable colleagues, after what just happened, I expect many of you are confused. And I'm here to hopefully bring some clarity to the confusing debate that just took place. I expect many of you confused because, frankly, I myself am a little mystified at the minority opposition to the amendment. As my friend from London area has already mentioned, the committee adopted this amendment with only one dissenting vote. When the bill was originally filed, it had the word shall. It was a clear requirement with no discretion whatsoever on the part of the school district. The honorable member from Keene on the committee was also a school board member, raised the issue of local control, and he was concerned. He felt that the local school district ought to have some involvement in the placement of the memorial. And so the committee adopted the amendment that is under discussion right now, where the language was put in the amendment that says that the school district shall permit the placement of the memorial plaque in a suitable location or other memorial as agreeable to the school board. So the purpose of this amendment is to give the discretion, it's to involve the school board in this decision, and give them the discretion about what can or cannot be placed on school property. So, you know, if you are in opposition to the concept as a whole, fine. You can vote against this bill if you choose to. But in terms of the whole debate that's just transpired, it's kind of been turned on its head. The reality is adopting this amendment gives the involvement and the discretion to the school board that I think everybody here wants. So I encourage you to adopt the amendment, and then we can move on to the debate on the bill itself. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Does the member yield to questions? The member does not yield. Chair recognizes Representative Robertson to speak against the committee report.
I am certainly not against honoring our veterans. In the city of Keene, we were about to build a monument to our veterans of World War II and Korea. The veterans came to this committee that I was on, in which we had raised quite a lot of money, and the local service clubs were promising more, and said, we don't want a monument. We want to take this money and give our young swimming pools. And they took the money. We built 2 swimming pools, one on each side of our town for our young people. And we put the veterans' names on the swimming pool walls. And I think for us to dictate where and how cities and towns don't honor the veterans the way they would like to be honored. And I was so proud of the local veterans in my city that wanted to do for the young people of our town. And if I understand this bill correctly, you would not have allowed this and to dictate to a town or city where their monument is, and I think most towns are going to honor them, but I would think the veterans of that community ought to have the right to say what they would appreciate, because I think it was such a wonderful thing that our veterans did.
Will the member yield to questions? Representative Horgan, you may inquire.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you to the member from Keene. Does this amendment address another flaw in the original bill, is that it covers anyone who died during military service, which includes people who may have died of died of non-military related means, or even people who, so it's not just people who were killed in action?
These swimming pools honored our veterans. Whether they died in World War II or Korea, they fought there. And it was in the honor of those who died and those who fought and came back.
Does the member yield to further question? Representative Baldessari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representative, for taking my question. You hit it right on the money, exactly what the bill does. The town, the school, they all agreed to take that money from the memorial. They were all in agreement in accordance with line 4 of the bill, and put that money towards a memorial, like a memorial war swimming pool type thing. That's what the bill does. Not all cities in town does that, so I want to thank the town of King. Would you agree?
I'm pretty sure I do.
Does the member yield to further question? Representative Kelly Pitchen.
Thank you very much for taking my question, and I would say first that I honor veterans because I am a veteran's wife from Vietnam. Do you now, without this bill, without this amendment, I think I heard you say that you have the authority to put an amendment, a memorial now, and discuss with the organization that's putting the memorial, no matter what it is, and the school board where to put it. So, do you have anything, does this amendment give you anything that you do not have the ability to do now, or take away anything that you have the ability to do now?
What I objected to was that the bill says you shall, and I thought it said it had to be connected to the school system. These swimming pools are, one is in a park on the east and one is in a park on the west, and they're walkable to large parts of Keene.
Member yield to follow question.
So you can put memorials up now if you wish.
Oh, these are 30 or 40 years old. Yeah. Thank you.
Does the member yield to a further question? The member does not yield. Representative Bates has requested a roll call. Is that sufficiently seconded? It is sufficiently seconded. This will be a roll call vote. Members will take their seats. You may inquire.
Mr. Speaker, it's my understanding this bill was marked as an early bill, and if the body passes it today, that it will go on to education, where these questions about the involvement of school board and local control will be taken up there. Is that true or not?
That is true. This bill will be sent to the Education Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And I'll just remind people, there are 13 committees meeting starting at 1 o'clock. There are the bills we have to get through. All these bills that we're dealing with will go to a second committee. There will be action taken on them there. There will be opportunity to discuss with the committee concerns. Just keep that in mind. House will come to order. Chair recognizes Representative LaBerge for parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if I know that the word shall is just that, there's no way around it, that it is a mandate. And if I also believe that using Vietnam War veterans as political pawns to justify rationalism,
House will be in order. House will be in order.
but I
There will
know.
be no display of emotion on the floor of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And if I know that as a Vietnam War vet, the use of Vietnam War veterans to justify and rationale the amendment is not correct, but I now press the red button. Thank you.
Question is on the amendment on House Bill 1130. If you are in favor, you'll press the green button. If you're opposed, you'll press the red button. The chair recognizes Representative Chris Roberts for a parliamentary report.
Mr. Speaker, if I know that no memorial can be placed on school grounds unless approved by the school district, would I now press green?
Question is on the committee amendment on House Bill 1130. So roll call vote. If you are in favor, you'll press the green button. If you're opposed, you'll press the red button. Voting stations will be open for 30 seconds. All members voted with the president on the question put. House will attend to the state of the vote. There having been 181 votes in the affirmative, 127 in the negative, the committee amendment is adopted. The question is on, for the House, is on the committee report. Are you ready for the question? Division vote has been requested. This will be a division vote. Members will take their seats. I believe everyone is still in their seats. Representative Baldessaro requested a roll call. Is that sufficiently seconded? It is sufficiently seconded. This will be a roll call vote. Members will take their seats.
The amendment.
Question before the House will come to order. The question before the House is the adoption of the committee report on House Bill 1130. If you are in favor, you will press the green button. If you are opposed, you will press the red button. Voting stations will be open for 30 seconds.
It's kind of confusing.
If all members voted with the president on the question is put, the House will attend to the state of the vote. There having been 192 votes in the affirmative, 117 in the negative, the committee report is adopted. And under the rules of the House, the bill is referred to the Committee on Education.